Right now in South Korea, there is a comedy of errors playing out that is so ridiculous, so hypocritical, and so deeply weird that you couldn't make it up if you tried. Imagine for a second that you live in a world where everyone is constantly screaming at the top of their lungs about how unfair life is. They talk about invisible walls, glass ceilings, and how society is rigged to keep certain people down. They demand ladders, they demand shortcuts, they demand that everyone be given a fair shot at the top. But then something incredible happens. A woman actually does it. She doesn't wait for a ladder. She builds a jetpack. She bypasses the boring corporate grind, skips the entry-level misery, and builds a financial empire worth millions of dollars just by talking to a camera and being charismatic. And what does the crowd do? Do they cheer? Do they ask for tips? No, they grab their pitchforks and try to burn her house down. Because she didn't use the approved ladder. It's like complaining that your sandwich isn't a hot bowl of soup while you're literally eating the most expensive steak in the world. It makes zero sense. But in the twisted logic of modern digital fame, it's exactly what's happening. This all kicked off when a famous internet streamer named Seyeon was announced as the face of a big-time cosmetic brand. Now, you have to understand who she is. She's a superstar. In the world of independent broadcasting, in Korea, these people are called broadcast jockeys and they make absolute bank. We're talking about millions of dollars in digital tips from fans who adore them. It's high energy, it's provocative, it's flashy, and it's completely transparent. She's a self-made millionaire who knows exactly how to play the game of the digital economy, but the moment her face appeared on a lipstick ad, the internet exploded, not with excitement, but with pure, unadulterated rage. Why? Because the people who claim to want women to succeed decided that her success was the wrong kind. They argued that a woman from the shady side of the internet has no business representing a pure and elegant brand. They didn't care about the quality of the lipstick. They were obsessed with the purity of the face wearing it. They started a massive boycott, posting photos of themselves throwing away products and flooding the company with complaints until the brand eventually caved, apologized, and deleted the ads. But why would they actually demand this? Why would a group of people who claim to be fighting for female empowerment spend all their energy trying to destroy a woman's career? If you look under the hood, the answer is a brutal mix of professional jealousy and the cold, hard logic of the capitalist ego. See, for a lot of these critics, Seyeon is a walking insult to their entire life story. They followed the rules, they went to the right schools, took the low-paying entry-level jobs, and endured the social grind, all for a paycheck that wouldn't even cover the taxes on one of her cars. When they see her succeed, they don't see an inspiration, they see a cheat code. They feel like her wealth devalues their hard work, so they use morality as a weapon to protect their own social standing. It's a market calculation. If they can't be as rich as her, they have to make sure she's never as respected as them. They want to maintain a world where their compliance with boring social norms gives them a higher status than her actual financial success. It's not about feminism or dignity. It's about making sure the social price tag of a streamer stays low, so that their own modest lives feel more valuable by comparison. So, that naturally leads to the next question: how does a society that is so obsessed with progress end up being so obsessed with purity and shame? To understand this, you have to look at the weird cultural tug-of-war happening in Korea right now. On one side, you have this ultra-modern, high-tech digital capitalism where anyone can get rich overnight. On the other side, you have this incredibly old-school traditional mindset that demands everyone stay in their lane. It's like having a Ferrari engine inside a horse-drawn carriage. In this culture, your face, your public reputation is everything. There's a massive divide between what's called the sunny side and the shady side. The sunny side is the world of big corporations, clean ads, and respectable jobs. The shady side is the world of streamers, subcultures, and provocative content. Usually, these two worlds never touch, but Seyeon tried to cross the border. And the sunny side residents acted like a border patrol for dignity. They believe that if someone from the shady side is allowed into the mainstream, it stains the entire neighborhood. It's a way of gatekeeping public space. They want to keep the underworld wealth hidden so it doesn't challenge the hierarchy of the upper world. It's basically a digital caste system, where your bank account doesn't matter if your digital footprint isn't pure enough for the neighbors. But wait, it gets even more hypocritical. What happened when these critics got exactly what they asked for? What was the actual result of their victory? This is where the comedy turns into a tragedy of errors. By forcing the brand to cancel the ad, they didn't just hurt the streamer, they proved that corporations are absolutely terrified of anything that isn't a soulless plastic puppet. These critics are always complaining about the glass ceiling, the idea that society limits women's potential. But in this case, they weren't just the ones hitting the ceiling, They were the ones who turned into a glass sledgehammer to bring a successful woman down. They argue that women are often pushed into provocative industries because they have no other options, and they use this logic to demand government subsidies and help for women in those industries. They want to treat these women as victims who need saving, but the moment one of those women actually saves herself, makes millions of dollars, and tries to buy a legitimate spot in the mainstream, she is suddenly an enemy of dignity. They love the victim, but they hate the winner. If you're struggling, they'll pity you. If you succeed on your own terms, they'll destroy you. It's the ultimate crab mentality. One crab tries to climb out of the bucket and all the other crabs pull her back down, so they can all be miserable together, and the fallout is spreading like a digital virus. It's not just about one cosmetic brand anymore. It's happening to bands like Queer, who are made up of former streamers. People are trying to get them banned from music festivals and TV shows because they used to dance for digital tips. The critics are acting like a moral lynch mob, hunting down anyone who didn't take the pure path to success. They are obsessed with reputational terror. And this is where the cold logic of capitalism takes a really dark turn. Because brands are cowards, they aren't going to fight back. Instead, they are going to stop hiring humans altogether. Why hire a person with a past, an opinion, or a personality when you can just hire an A? We are moving toward a future where the only people allowed to represent brands are digital puppets with zero history and zero digital footprints. We are creating a world where purity is the only currency that matters, but since no human is ever truly pure in the eyes of a digital mob, only robots will be allowed to succeed. The influencer economy is splitting into two extremes: the shadow rich, who make millions in secret, but can never show their faces in the respectable world, and the public poor, who have a perfect image but can't even afford the products they're advertising. In the end, this whole scandal is like a broken mirror being held up to the face of modern society. It shows us a world that is obsessed with beauty but absolutely terrified of desire. It shows a world that craves success but secretly hates anyone who actually achieves it. The irony is that everyone involved is playing a part in a script full of lies. The critics use products from companies that have much darker secrets than any streamer, but they draw the line at a girl's outfit. The brands pretend to care about social values only when they're worried about their profit margins, and the streamers are stuck in a legal but socially illegal limbo where their money is good enough for the tax office, but not good enough for the lipstick counter. It's a universal human experience. We all want to feel better than our neighbors, so we find a flaw in their rise to the top just to make ourselves feel less like we're stuck in the mud. We are all living in a Vibe lounge built on top of a swamp, and the moment someone from the swamp tries to walk through the front door, we suddenly remember that we hate the mud, even if we're covered in it ourselves. The mirror is broken because our values are a fragmented mess of victimhood politics and capitalist greed, leaving us unable to see that the real ugliness isn't on the face of the streamer, it's in the eyes of the person trying to tear her down. Fuel the truth at Dating in Korea. Support the structure. Stay safe in the lounge.